Hey Redeemer, as we've mentioned the past few weeks, we've run into some unique challenges with the building, and so we want to take just a couple minutes here to explain where we are and talk about the next steps. So Adam, could you give us sort of an overview of the last week, week and a half, and what we've learned?
Sure. So 2 Fridays ago, we got an email from the general contractor. They've been working with us the whole time to work on estimates, and we got an email late on a Friday, which is our day off. So we saw the email Saturday, and it said prices were 27% higher than expected.
Yeah.
And that was a bit of a shocker, of course, to us. A lot of that was market increase. Some of it was what they were calling scope increase due to code requirements, that kind of thing. And so we kind of processed that over the weekend, revisited it, looked at the numbers again that Monday. This is last week now. Met with the contractor and the architect and talked through some of the itemized things, try to find where there's areas in here that maybe we could cut. Basically, all last week we were working on this kind of together. Don Curry was working with us as well, one of our elders, and trying to figure out if there was a way to get it from a number that was $1.4 million higher than what we were planning on, down to something we could do.
Yeah.
So we came back to them and said, we can do a max of $6 million, which is still 300,000 more. It's important. Those zeros I've learned are important in this.
Yeah.
300,000 more than what we were planning on doing originally, but just seems like that's the best we can do to get what will be functional. And at that $6 million number, we were looking at things like not building out all the classrooms, but building out kind of the bare minimum of them, and then hopefully not too long from now upfitting them, those kind of things. But we're looking at all these different trade-offs, and even this week there's been all kinds of emails back and forth trying to figure out how can we shave things that aren't functional, that we could add in later, that could get us to a number that we could still get started. So it was a tough week, and it was tough to see that. We all know how the market is, but that was just a bigger jump than any of us expected.
Yeah.
And so, Josh, how should we as a church think about that? How should we respond?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is we shouldn't worry, right? Because as we've been looking at in the Psalms, God is in control. So we might have been a little surprised and shocked and disappointed and all of these mix of emotions when we saw the prices, but God wasn't. And so we should never worry. Instead, we should actually, and this is what we've talked about, is we should give thanks. It doesn't feel like a thing we should give thanks for, except we're told repeatedly to give thanks in all things. So God has a purpose for this. So we should actually give thanks. Lord, thank you for bringing us to this point. We don't understand exactly why. We're trying to figure out the best way to do things, but we give thanks. We certainly pray. This is certainly God calling us to pray. We have bathed this time in prayer. We've seen God respond to it. And so here's a new opportunity. We're going to keep praying. God's going to respond. We're already seeing some positive things after that shock and what seemed like, oh no, what are we going to do? No, God's working. We're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And then finally, we continue to give generously. And that we've done that as a church in amazing, remarkable ways. And so we're finishing up sort of year 2 of its time this fall. It's just an opportunity for those of us who've been here the whole time to continue to give generously. For those who are new to Redeemer, it's an invitation to be part of this. Pray for God to work and pray that He'll start with you. Yeah. Give generously, and we'll just see God respond, and this will be a testimony of His kindness and grace to us in the long run.
The Lord has sustained Redeemer faithfully in a middle school auditorium for a decade plus, and He's going to help us through this challenge too. So,
are you discouraged?
I'm not at this point. When I got that email,
There's a reason we didn't film this video a week ago.
That's exactly right. We weren't quite ready for that. But at this point, I know that the Lord's going to care for us and we're going to be provided for. Yeah. So let's just do what you said. Pray, be ready to give. I'm excited to see what
hopefully we hope we're on schedule to still start early October.
Early October should be when something starts happening on the land. Some trees come down, at least an electric pole. Will go up, that kind of stuff. We should start getting to see that this fall. I'm really actually very excited to get to that point.
Yeah, it'll be great to see some. So let's not be discouraged. Let's trust the Lord. Let's pray. Let's continue to be part of it. And we're going to see God do some exciting things.